Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday and welcome to the month of November. So whether you're eating your Halloween candy or smuggling your kids' Halloween candy while they're at school, whether you're dusting off those recipe books, getting ready for Thanksgiving, which will be here before you know it. I got a Friendsgiving that I'm going to be attending next weekend. I got to get that banana pudding made, you know what I mean? Whip that up in the bowl and get it to my friends for Friendsgiving. So I'm looking forward to that. Or if you're putting your Christmas garland up, your wreaths, your Christmas trees, whether you're doing any of those three things, just know that I will not judge you. Working in the field of public safety, I've worked my share of holidays. I'm going to be working some more holidays this year. So I understand I celebrate all the holidays together so I don't miss one, so I can celebrate them all in the right amount of time. So just know that I will not judge you if you're watching slasher movies on Christmas Day or if you have your Christmas tree up in November. However, I will judge you if you do not have this podcast on your screen. I will be judging you very harshly because today's show is going to be a stacked show. It's going to be a packed show. We got a new World Series champion. We got to talk about that series. I got a preview for the NBA coming up for this weekend. We got some good games coming on in the NBA this second week coming up. Looking forward to it. I got to talk about the NHL because this week was a good week. We had some good NHL stuff go on. I want to analyze some headlines in the NHL. And of course, you know what Friday is for. Fridays for football. So I'm going to be getting you ready for your college football preview and your NFL. Sorry about that. Your NFL preview. So I can get you ready for this Saturday and Sunday of some very competitive football. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And while you're at it, enjoy yourself a cup of coffee with me, Podcast Smitty. That's a good cup of joke. So let's hit that theme music.
Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly.
Welcome to QuickHits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty. Want to start off this Friday show by saying thank you for everyone that watched on Tuesday as we broke down the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement and also talked about some Thursday night football previews in the Tuesday night game, which I totally got wrong. But we talked about some headlines in college football in that very episode. So go ahead and run that episode back after you finish watching this episode. So, of course, we've got a stacked and packed episode that we're going to be talking about everything because some great sports happened over this week and this past weekend. And also, we got some sports that are going to be coming up that are going to be really good this weekend. So I'm not here to talk your head off in the intro. We're going to go ahead and break down these sports. So let's start the show. Now, I'm very thankful that QuickHits is the only podcast on Boom Broadcasting that covers the NHL, and we will cover the NHL right now. So let's talk about this surprise team called the Winnipeg Jets. This squad has been on a 16-game unbeaten streak since the end of last year. Dating back to last year, they've had 16 straight games. They ended up losing this week to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was Tuesday night. In a 6-4 game, they had to come back from behind, and they were close to doing so. But unfortunately, they couldn't finish the job. They were the surprise team in the NHL coming out, winning 8 straight games. They didn't lose. They didn't tie up. They didn't go in overtime. None of that. It was 8 straight wins that they rattled off. Scott Arnell is the first coach in league history in his first season as head coach to win 8 straight games. That is his record there that he set with the NHL. Kyle Connor, who has been killing it right now, is 1 point away from getting his 500 career point. And he had 4 in the loss, unfortunately, to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's been in a scoring machine, leading his team with 16 points. Now, they have some notable games coming up. They play the Tampa Bay Lightning on November the 3rd. The Lightning are currently second in the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. They play the Avalanche on November 7th. The Avs have won 5 of 6 games. That's my squad right there. They'll be playing them very, very soon. They've won 5 of 6 games to this date. And they'll be playing the Dallas Stars on November the 9th. And the Dallas Stars are considered the squad that should be going to Stanley Cups, going for the Stanley Cup Finals. They're rumored to win it, is what a lot of analysts are saying in the NHL. They're thinking that the Stars are the team to beat this year. And they're actually in the same division as the Winnipeg Jets. So that'll be a dog fight once they see them. What I like about the Winnipeg Jets, they have the best power play in the NHL. I believe they're around 43%. I think that's the best, and that is the best power play in the NHL. They play well with the man advantage. They're 4th in killing penalties. So anytime that they have a 2-minute minor or a 5-minute major, they can kill the penalty about as good as anybody. They're one of the best scoring teams in the league. The Connor, Sheffley, and Velarde line is fun to watch. I like seeing it. I think they're a good squad. It is early, but I think right now the Winnipeg Jets are for real. We will see how it goes throughout the course of the season. And Marc-Andre Fleury is on his farewell tour. And it is believed that he played his last game in Pittsburgh as they played the Pittsburgh Penguins, his old squad, a squad he spent 13 years with, hoisted 3 Stanley Cups. And I got it wrong on a couple of weeks back. Marc-Andre Fleury actually won all 3 of his cups in Pittsburgh. He won in 2009, won in 2016, and 2017. He's got the most wins for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the best goals against average all time in franchise history with 2.58. He plays for the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild were able to get the win 5-3 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sid the Kid and Chris Letang, 2 of his good friends and longtime teammates, were there to welcome him in. And they took a good picture with him. Very good stuff there. You know, Sid the Kid and Chris Letang, of course, on the back end of their careers very soon as well, too. Very good players. Marc-Andre Fleury, farewell at the end of the season. Great job on your career. Now, unfortunately, Steve Stamkos didn't have such a wonderful homecoming as he went to Tampa Bay, his old squad, a squad he spent 16 years with. Won 2 Stanley Cups with back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2020 and 2021. He was the first-round selection for the Tampa Bay Lightning back in 2008. He comes back with his new team, the Nashville Predators. Wasn't able to win it, lost 3-2 in overtime. Stamkos is the all-time leader in points, goals, games played, power play goals, game winners, and overtime goals for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Unfortunately, his squad wasn't able to beat his old squad. The Tampa Bay, the Nashville Predators, unfortunately, I meant to say the Nashville Predators, sorry about that. They had a very busy offseason. They got some key signs, and Stamkos was one of the signs that they were very happy with. So they were able to get him over to the team. Unfortunately, the Nashville Predators haven't produced a lot of wins. They were winless in their first 5 games. They had a great offseason, but just the acquisitions that they received, unfortunately, they haven't been able to produce any type of chemistry. It is early, but once his squad gets a chemistry, they get a core unit together, I believe they'll be fine. They have a tough division as they play in that Central Division with Dallas and Winnipeg sitting at the very top of that division. And a big story in the NHL is Alexander Ovechkin, 38 goals away from getting to Wayne Gretzky's record of goals scored all time in a career. Ovechkin got 2 goals against the New York Rangers in a 5-3 win. We're going to see if Alexander Ovechkin can do it. He's 39 years old. He's 1 year older than me. So I'm hoping that he actually does it for the sake of history for the NHL. And on a somber note, the Edmonton Oilers will be losing Connor McDavid for 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury. Chris Knobloch says that he is very happy that it wasn't worse than what it could have been. Losing for 2 to 3 weeks isn't good, but it's better than what he could have lost him for. McDavid is slated to return around November 21st to 22nd. That's about the latest that they'll be having him back on the squad. Even with Connor McDavid in the rotation, it's been tough for the Edmonton Oilers to score. They've had trouble scoring. They've had trouble manufacturing wins. With Connor McDavid gone, it's going to be a little tougher, so they're going to need guys to step up. And with all that being considered, those are your NHL quick hits for this week. Go watch some hockey. They encourage you to fight. You may have to sit, but they encourage a good fight. Let's go. And of course, with it being Friday, you know what Friday is for. Friday is for football. That's right. I'm going to go ahead and give you my college football picks. And then we're going to transition it to the NFL headlines and to the NFL picks as well. So let's go ahead and get these college picks in. So the first game that's up is going to be a Friday. And it's going to be Boise State and San Diego State University. And I got Boise State winning that game. Ashton Jeanty once again campaigning for that Heisman Trophy. Now, I like him for being a Heisman. I think he will get it. But there's no denying Travis Hunter being a two-way player and being incredible at both sides of the ball. It's going to be rough to do. But I think that either Ashton is going to get that Maxwell and Travis may get that Heisman. Who knows? We'll see. But give me Boise State over San Diego State. And Ohio State and Penn State is going to be your battle here for Saturday, bringing it in on that Saturday. So Penn State may not have their quarterback in the game. OSU played very, very tough on the road, losing that tough road game to the Oregon Ducks. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Ohio State will get the job done against Penn State. They've done it in seven straight matchups against them. So I think they'll do it again. So give me Ohio State, the Buckeyes, over the Nittany Lions. Give me Miami over Duke. Duke will keep it close, I believe. Very good defense. But Miami's got an offense that'll beat you. They can get down the field. Cam Ward campaigning for that Heisman Trophy as well, too. I think he's a dark horse. I think he's outside of the top two. But give me Miami over Duke. I got Ole Miss over Arkansas. I got Army over the Air Force Academy. I got the Fighting Illini of Illinois over Minnesota. That'll be a game to watch. Minnesota's got a very good defense that could get Illinois off track, keep Illinois at bay. But I think that the Fighting Illini will get it done. Oregon and Michigan, I think Oregon's going to blow Michigan's doors off. Michigan has not had consistency at the quarterback play. It is shown over the week. So I think Oregon's going to get them. Quack, quack. And then Georgia and Florida going to meet each other. Florida's had some near brushes with some squads. Had a near brush with Tennessee. I believe they had an overtime game where Tennessee came away with the win. But I think Georgia's going to get it done in a statement game. The SEC is doing what Banker Bill said that they're doing on Tap Outs and Touchdowns, the podcast he does with my man, Ryan Frick, who does a podcast with me for the Cat Cave. The SEC's beating up on each other. We don't know which way is up with the SEC because they just beat the crap out of each other. So Georgia will beat Florida. I got Iowa State over Texas Tech. I got Indiana over Michigan State. Michigan State threw a little bit of punches at their rival Michigan last week, but I think Indiana's got the punch for them, and it'll be an easy win, I believe. Kansas State over Houston. Texas A&M and South Carolina is going to be a battle. South Carolina's got a defense that can beat you. They've got a tough defense, but I think Texas A&M is that team that can get it done. So give me Texas A&M in a small amount against South Carolina. I'd probably say 6 points or less will be what the Texas A&M Aggies will do. with the South Carolina Gamecocks. So Clemson and Louisville. Louisville's got a good offense as well, too. I think Louisville's offense might not be enough for Clemson's defense. Give me Clemson in the win. In Tennessee over Kentucky. Kentucky's tough as well, too. They've held some teams at bay. They beat a very upstart Ole Miss squad. Gave them their first loss, I believe. So give me Tennessee over Kentucky in their rivalry game. And Pitt will have enough defense to beat SMU. SMU was close to losing to Duke last week. Duke's got a very, very tough defense. Pitt's got a tougher defense, I believe, forcing 3 pick sixes against Syracuse last Thursday. So this is what we're going to see. These are the picks for college football. And as your college football quick hits for this weekend, enjoy the college football. And by the way, go Tar Heels. And I can't leave you without the NFL, so we're going to go ahead and get into these headlines and into these picks. So, the Colts going to start Joe Flacco over Andy Richardson. I think Andy Richardson burned his bridge a little bit by tapping his helmet, saying that he got tired. I have empathy, man, but no sympathy, unfortunately. You got to continue to get out there. You got quarterbacks that have been running all over the place. Lamar Jackson has been running like crazy. Brock Purdy's done the same thing. These guys have been running. Get your conditioning up, my friend. And Flacco, I've been asking for Richardson to get benched because I think Flacco gives him a better chance to win. He's a seasoned guy. He was a Super Bowl MVP. And I think that he can still play. He played at a very high level in Cleveland last year. I wonder how he got away from Cleveland, but I'm thinking that he's happy that that happened. So, yes, good move by the Colts. The Ravens, unfortunately, get a trade for Deontay Johnson from the team I cover, the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers are in tank mode, and they're getting rid of Johnson, giving him to a contender. The Ravens have a squad that could contend for the AFC and quite possibly the NFL. He's got to get past Kansas City, and I think they're trying to get as many as they can to stack the odds in their favor. Stephon Diggs, unfortunately, out for the season with a torn ACL. He had 47 catches, 496 yards, and 3 touchdowns in his first year with the Houston Texans. Unfortunately, came to an end. That's going to set the offense back for the Houston Texans. Tank Dell is going to be their number 1 guy, looks like, with Nico Collins still hurt and then Stephon Diggs out for the season. So, CJ, got to see what you can do, man, with a mass unit of an offense. And then, unfortunately, some sad news, some melancholy news, as Charvarius Ward announces the passing of his daughter, Amani Joy, on the 29th of October. She was set to be 2 years old. Be with your family. We'll be praying for you, Charvarius Ward. Still bang, bang, Niner gang. But, baby girl, rest in peace. You won't know the troubles of this whole world. And last week's recap, we got the recap of last week as Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp make their return to the Los Angeles Rams, and they beat the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. I'm not looking forward to them two coming back. I'm glad they're no longer hurt, but I hate they're coming back. That means the Rams are going to be tough, and they're going to try to fight in that NFC West. But we'll see. And Jameis Winston with the 3 touchdowns beats the Ravens. It's Jameis time in Cleveland. It looks like with the injury of D-Watt, it looks like Jameis Winston getting that full start, getting that win. Good job for Jameis Winston. The Lions offense is just too daggone good. Beat the crap out of the Titans. 52 points, a 50 burger on the Titans. And the Chiefs still undefeated. The Chiefs don't care how they win, but they still continue to win. They're still undefeated. The Redskins practicing that tip drill against the Chicago Bears. The Bears, unfortunately, got caught sleeping on defense. I'm not going to say who, but they got caught sleeping. And the Redskins get a miracle win. And this is for MD and MD Jr. out there. Bang, bang, Niner gang. 49ers getting the win over them daggum Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not going to be such a good dad and the boys. I'm glad. Thank you. And now your picks for this weekend. So I got Atlanta over the Cowboys. Atlanta's just playing too good of team football. Their offense is on fire. The Cowboys are regressing, it looks like. The Bills over the Dolphins. The Bills are playing some very good offensive football. I don't think the Dolphins have enough to stop that. Tua has got his sea legs underneath them. They'll keep it close, but the Bills will win. The Bengals over the Raiders. I think Joe and them get it done on the offensive end. They've been doing it on the offensive end. It's just that they've not been able to manufacture wins. So they're going to do that this week. The Chargers over the Browns. No Jameis magic this time. I think the Chargers get them. The Commanders over the Giants in an easy win. Even with the banged up Jaden Daniels, I still think the Giants are that bad of a team. I do. And speaking of bad teams, I got the Saints over the Panthers. Sadly, no Deontay Johnson. He's going to the Ravens. So yes, the Saints will beat my Panthers, sadly. But it is a winnable game. But unfortunately not winnable for the Panthers. The Ravens will take out the Broncos. And Sean Payton, he's a clown. Don't like the guy. Can't stand him. But I think the Ravens will rebound after losing to Cleveland. I got the Eagles over the Jaguars. I've got the Cardinals over the Bears. I got the Lions over the Pack. That's going to be a very, very slept-on game. If Jordan Love is playing still, I think that the Lions get the win because the Lions are that daggum good. The Rams over the Seahawks in an NFC West battle. Even with the short week, I think they'll get it done against the Seahawks. Vikings over Colts. And Chiefs over the Bucks in Monday Night Football. The Chiefs are due a loss, but just not to the Buccaneers. That is your NFL quick hits for this week. Enjoy the football. Enjoy Sunday. Enjoy Monday. Let's go. Before I begin the next two segments, I want to give flowers to two of the guys here on Boom Broadcasting. One of those guys is Chris DeLuca, and the other is Jason Colenso. The reason why is because they have sports-centric podcasts. Chris DeLuca has the Dugout Debrief, which covers all your baseball. And Jason Colenso, whose first episode of 3 from Deep debuted on a Monday. He's covering all things NBA. That makes the job easier for me because I can focus on headlines. They do the analysis, all the stat tracking. They got all your basketball, all your baseball. So make sure that you hit up their podcast because they do a lot of great work. I don't want to step on their toes. So I'm doing my own headlines, my own analysis. I can focus on that. So thank you, fellas. It's good to have a strong team. And I got some strong teammates here at Boom Broadcasting. I appreciate every one of them. So we got a new World Series champion as of Thursday night. Sorry about that. We got a new World Series champion, and we'll go ahead and start with those runner-ups here, the New York Yankees. Now, I picked the Yankees. I picked them to win in 7 games. I felt like they were going to end the drought. They had 15 years with no chip. They had 5 ALCS losses. I felt like this was the right time for them to do it. They ran through the playoffs. They got enough rest. They had the star power to do it. They had the talent, with Aaron Judge being maybe the number 1 or number 2 baseball player, depending on how you feel. He's in the top 2 of baseball players in Major League Baseball. Juan Soto, the great acquisition in December. Garrett Cole, who is probably one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. Giancarlo Stanton. Unfortunately, he was a Marlin, but he's a Yankee now, so that's okay. They had a good squad, and I felt like they were able to do it. They were loaded with talent. But the criticism with the Yankees this year, they bullied a lot of people. They were a very bullying baseball team. They beat you with talent. They knocked you out with talent. But there were some times where they did not play mistake-free baseball. There were times where they played sloppy baseball. They lacked some fundamentals. And that showed definitely in Game 5. They had some base running issues. They had some defensive issues. They weren't able to get it done. Judge with the drop ball. Volpe didn't get the throw the third base to Jazz Chisholm. And then Rizzo, who tried to cover first base, didn't cover it. Garrett Cole wasn't able to even get to first base. Wasn't able to get there. It was just very sloppy play on the defense. and the Dodgers took advantage of that. Now, if you look at it, if you look at 4-1, if you look at the 4-1 series that they were finished in 5 games. You would think that it was depressing from a baseball standpoint. I'm here to tell you it was not. This is the matchup baseball wanted. Now, I wanted more baseball. I thought it was going to be 7 games, and I wanted 7 games. But in the grand scheme of things, this was like a 7-game series if you look at it. Freddie Freeman's heroics with the injury that he had before the World Series, the fact that his son was having the ailments that he was having. This was a big story for Freddie Freeman, whose streak of 4 home runs and 12 RBIs began when he was in Atlanta. Miss you, Freddie. And that makes him have a very wonderful story here in the World Series. The dream that every kid has who loves baseball, to hit that home run that defined the World Series. Freddie done that. The Kirk Gibson home run, it was like he done that. I can't believe what I just saw. He did that. He emulated that in game 1. Dave Roberts' masterful management of the squad. The Ohtani injury didn't really shake him. Overcoming injuries over the year. He lost a lot of players, and he lost 3 guys to season-ending injuries. And the utilization of the relievers. I think he put in 7 relievers in 1 game at one point in time. He was able to do that. Now you hear people talking about, oh, the Yankees bought a World Series back in the days. And then you hear the grumblings of, oh, the Dodgers bought a World Series, spending almost $1 billion on their roster. And some of that, and a lot of that money went to Shohei Ohtani. But if you look at it, the way that the Dodgers played, they played the most fundamental baseball. They were the best managed team in baseball. The Yankees bullied people. They won with star power. They won with bully baseball. The fundamentals won. The Yankees, unfortunately, got what was coming to them. The Dodgers were a better squad, and they showed that. They had guys come up in key moments in this series, and it was big for them. The Dodgers are being picked to run it back next year, and rightfully so. Juan Soto may be making business decisions right now as we speak. He said he's going to hear from all 32 teams. And who do the Yankees have to blame? Of course, they have to blame themselves, but mostly they got to blame those 2 idiots that tried to pry that ball out of Mookie Betts' hands when he was trying to make that catch. Fellas, I hope you enjoyed your 15 minutes of fame. You're one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad that the Yankees lost this, because that's just unsportsmanlike. I know the Yankees really have nothing to do with that. But when you got a fan base like that that does silly things such as that, and then you want to complain and look at championships being bought, look at your fan base. Fan bases make teams sometimes. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people really don't like the Yankees, which I don't think is the Yankees' fault yet again. But having fans like that does not help. And I hope those clowns enjoyed their 15 minutes of fame. Now go cry in the car while the Dodgers celebrate their 8th championship. The COVID title, they can get rid of that now. There was people talking about the COVID title. They replaced it with the title right here. So congratulations to the Dodgers. That's kind of why I got the Brooklyn on, of course, with Jackie Robinson on the back right there. Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball. And these are your quick hits for this week in the game of baseball. Congratulations. Now, once again, I got to give support to my strong teammates, my line mates. They're like a good front court. You know, my man Chris DeLuca and, of course, Jason Colenso. He has the basketball program, the podcast for basketball, 3 from Deep, where he talks about the NBA. So I'm not going to step on his toes. I did the same thing for Chris. I'm not going to step on his toes. I'm going to let them give you the baseball and the basketball the way that they do it. I'm just going to highlight what we got for this weekend on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. But I'm going to let Jason take the rest for Monday. So as I'm looking at it here on Friday, we got a pretty good stack of games. The primetime games that are going to be on are Orlando and Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's undefeated as we speak. Donovan Mitchell has had his minutes limited to 30 per game so far this season with their undefeated record, because it looks like he's got a squad. So they don't have to depend on him as much. That was something that Cleveland did during the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell playing his tail off, definitely a guy who could be a future MVP. But they're going up against Orlando. And Banchero, now on the other hand, he might be out for this game. They probably won't see him in that game. I do like Cleveland in this game, so give me Cleveland. And in Minnesota and Denver, they got the late game about 9:30, which will be on TV. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see that game when I get off work. Denver's had their struggles a little bit. Denver has been slow out of the blocks. They've played 2 overtime games back to back, and they've won both of them. But, having to go and play it in extra minutes is a little tough. But, of course, when you have Nikola Jokic, who is the back-to-back MVP, he's a bad man. But, adding Russ to the mix as well, too. Those guys that are around him have to get started and get going. But Denver's still a force to be reckoned with, but they're playing Minnesota at 9:30. Minnesota has a new look to him. Julius Randle, of course, coming over. Him and Dante DiVincenzo coming over in that Karl Anthony Towns trade that sent Cat to New York and these guys to Minnesota, which to me, I like the synergy that the New York Knicks had being the Villanova Knicks, with most of those guys on that squad being from Villanova University, though also adding Mikal Bridges as well too to New York, making the Knicks a lot better, and plus adding another Villanova guy. They had to get rid of one. So DiVincenzo did a little jawing to the New York Knicks during the preseason. So that was interesting, considering the fact that these guys had so much chemistry on that squad. They were a great squad in the playoffs, but injury got them. But they've got a new start in other places. I still say Minnesota is good in that game. I like Minnesota on the Friday matchups. And, of course, going down them real quick, Boston, who shot the lights out of the basketball, has our hometown Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets have got them back-to-back. They got them Friday, and then they have them Saturday. But I'm thinking it's going to be a tough fight for the Hornets, the home squad for me. But the Hornets have been playing very well. LaMelo Ball has been scoring a good bit, about 28 points a game for LaMelo Ball. Looking good. Hopefully he stays healthy. Then, of course, the New York Knicks, who we just talked about, against the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons got a scorer in Cade Cunningham, but he's looking around him, and it's looking awful grim for Cade as they're coming off of last year's very, very embarrassing run. Monty Williams has been replaced as the coach. He's been replaced. So I think the Knicks will be safe on that one. The Sacramento Kings hitting a little bit of a skid, adding DeMar DeRozan to the squad this year, playing the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young still shooting it at a high level, still the leader on that squad for the time being for the Atlanta Hawks. Then Chicago playing the Brooklyn Nets. Chicago getting back Lonzo. Sorry about that. Lonzo Ball. But Lonzo, unfortunately, getting hurt, busting up his arm a little bit. He's got a sprain, so he's going to be out for that game against Brooklyn. Then the Los Angeles Lakers, Bronny James scoring his first 2 points, just like his father, in a fashion like his dad, in front of Cleveland. Cleveland wanted Bronny. They got him. So he was out there, and Los Angeles playing the Toronto Raptors in this game. Indiana, that's a certified scoring machine, playing the New Orleans Pelicans at 8 o'clock. Give me Indiana in that game. And then OKC got the late game with Portland, and OKC has been on a tear, undefeated as we speak. Saturday, and really no primetime games on there as Boston and Charlotte playing each other again. Memphis and Philadelphia. They're saying that Joel Embiid may make his debut on Saturday. Sacramento with Toronto might be a notable game. Golden State without Steph Curry in this game. Buddy Hield doing his thing, as Jason Clenzo, my buddy, talking about Buddy Hield in that game, being a good compliment to Steph Curry, playing the Houston Rockets, who have been playing pretty good basketball right now. So, yes, In Cleveland with Milwaukee with a lot of turmoil going on. Giannis talking about wanting to be traded. If you caught Out of Pocket yesterday with Michael Davis, we talked about that. So he's wanting to get dealt early in the season. Minnesota and San Antonio, that might be a good matchup. Victor Wembanyama, who to me is the future of basketball in the NBA. I like him playing Minnesota. Minnesota's tough. Then Miami up against the Washington Wizards. Miami's still tough. Jimmy Butler's still on that squad. Tyler Hero leading the way in the scoring. Good stuff. The Utah Jazz got to play the Denver Nuggets. Not good for them. Utah yet to win a game this season. The Denver Nuggets always tough. Portland and Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns getting a surge with Tyus Jones. I don't really want to give a Duke guy a lot of props, but Tyus Jones might be what that squad needs. They need a certified point guard after Chris Paul going over to the San Antonio Spurs. So that might be a good pickup for Phoenix. And then OKC with the late game against the Clips. I think OKC won't have a problem with them either. And then your Sunday game. You got 3 Sunday games. Detroit against the Brooklyn Nets. That's a winnable game for Detroit. And then Atlanta with the New Orleans Pelicans at 7 p.m. on that Sunday. Atlanta, I think we'll pull that one off. The scoring from Atlanta is very, very good. I don't know if Jordan Poole is the right guy leading the way No, I'm sorry about that. That was Washington I'm talking about. This is New Orleans. Zion Williamson's going to be playing in that game. Sorry about that. So that'll be the Pelicans playing Atlanta. And the Pelicans might be poised to do it. A new look Zion might be just what the doctor ordered for the New Orleans Pelicans. And last but not least, Orlando and Dallas could be a barn burner for your Sunday night hoops right before your Sunday night football. Orlando and Dallas. Orlando likes to score it. I think Banchero may be back for that game, but Dallas will shoot it all over the place with Luka Doncic, scoring champion from last year, adding on Klay Thompson to that squad. It looks like this could be a fun slate of games as the NBA is back. We will be covering it here on Boom Broadcasting. Go see my man Jason Colenso, 3 from Deep on Mondays. Watch it on Boom Broadcasting. And of course, I'm going to be doing the overlay. Going to be filling in the gaps where he doesn't here on Quick Hits. And that is your NBA Quick Hits for this weekend. Enjoy the games. And just like that, the show is over. I want to say thank you guys for watching. For those who watch on Tuesday, thank you for watching today. You didn't have to do it, but you did. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and I sincerely appreciate it. Make sure that you like, you comment, and you subscribe to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel and all the socials on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Make sure that you're subscribing. Get the lowdown and the updates on your shows here on Boom Broadcasting. We got shows for sports and for not so sports as well too. And I encourage you to watch them all from these talented guys that I work with. They're a great group. Before I get out of here, I want to say thank you to a group of fellas. I want to say thank you first to my man SL Smooth, Sean Lucas, for the assist on the upload of Quick Hits last Friday. He got that for me, and I do appreciate him for doing that. I had trouble uploading it, but he was able to get it done for me, and I thank him for that. I also want to thank my man Mouthing Off with Mike for Sunday. I was on the Halloween Havoc nightcap after the pay-per-view. That was a lot of fun. And then I was with him on Wednesday with Torrin and Tortellini on the Wednesday night Dynamite nightcap. Go back and watch those back on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. I want to thank him for having me on there. I also want to thank my man MD the Prez having me on Out of Pocket. I told him not to do it, but he ended up doing it anyway, and I had to hurt him with the 49er gear. Had to do it, my man. It is what it is. But other than that, thank you for having me on Out of Pocket. It's been a minute for me on Out of Pocket, but thank you for taking time to have me on. I want to thank Chris DeLuca and Jason Colenso yet again for the assist I don't have to work as hard. Hopefully I don't make you work as hard, fellas. Thank you for what you're doing. Watch Chris DeLuca's Dugout Debrief, 12 o'clock on Thursday. He dropped an episode on Thursday. Make sure you watch it. His Dodgers won the World Series. Congratulate that man. Whether you like it or not, that's what happened. And Jason Colenso, who's doing his podcast, 3 from Deep, talking about the NBA. I like what he's doing. I like what he's about. His first episode was on this past Monday. He's coming with another one this Monday. Go watch him, and make sure you watch him on Wednesday with Sideline Savants, with Wayne, the commissioner, Thomas. I took an L to Wayne, so I'm going to leave him alone. I took an L to him in fantasy football. This past week, it was super ugly. But unfortunately, it is what it is, so I ain't going to knock Wayne anymore. He is the man when it comes down to fantasy football. So I give credit where credit is due. But all in all, guys, enjoy your weekend. I got to work this weekend, but it's all good. It is what it is. Got to put food on the table. But make sure that you guys watch. I thank you for your time. I thank you for what you do for me and for Boom Broadcasting. Stay safe. Blessings to your family. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.